I'm also very excited to kick off what I know will be a timely and lively conversation about employee benefits and why you need to be involved and how you can save precious city dollars while improving your employees' futures. This conversation will also touch on how to avoid litigation while taking necessary actions. The U.S. Conference of Mayors is a thought leader in this area and has brought best practices and programs to cities across the country as they face employee benefits challenges. This year marked an historic year for the conference. After a nearly 35-year relationship with the Deferred Compensation Plan Administrator, the U.S. Conference of Mayors began a new and revolutionary partnership with Great West. I'm sure this forum will help get you acclimated to this partnership. As a part of this forum, Columbia Mayor Steve Benjamin will moderate a panel of public sector retirement experts, including those from our partner, Great West, as well as the Groom Law Group, a leading firm in employee benefits law. They represent such small groups as the NFL, CBS, Campbell Soup, and American Airlines. Obviously, being facetious, they are in the big business and know their business well. Mayor Benjamin will also introduce a speaker from his hometown company, Colonial Life. Bill Hyde, Public Sector Director, will speak on the issue of how cities can save money on employee benefits by implementing proven best practice strategies from the GFOA. These programs and other USCM partnerships are not only valuable to our cities, but our cities' participation in these programs keeps our dues here at USCM low. Did I mention that these programs and other USCM partnerships are not only valuable to our cities, but our cities' participation in these programs helps to keep our dues here at USCM low? Maybe the word, did I mention? No. One other important thing. I've also asked Mayor Benjamin to serve as advisor and advocate on our benefits partnerships, and he has graciously agreed to do that. Please give it up for Mayor Benjamin. Thank him for that leadership. In this role, Mayor Benjamin will oversee and work with these programs on an ongoing basis. And so before I invite Mayor Benjamin to the podium, our CEO and Executive Director, Tom Cochran, has a few words for us as well.
Thank you, Mayor Nutter, President Nutter. Pulling the Deferred Compensation Program together has been one of my main focuses this year. And because of certain contractual relations that we had, I was not able to make that announcement until October the 8th. But I'm just very pleased to announce that we've got a new partner, Great West, and they're a great team. And I'm very glad that they're here to share this important information with you mayors today. I know that Brent Neese and Marilyn Costa from Great West and Steve Saxon from the Groom Law Group will be able to explain what mayors need to know about our new initiatives. It's going to be more efficient, and it's going to be cheaper, and it helps us with the fiduciary role that we have to you to make certain that our deferred compensation program is not only a benefit for the city employees, but it provides the best program that keeps you from being pulled into litigation mayors have no need to be in. Mr. President, that's all I'll have to say for right now. We will be working as we get out of this meeting to continue to strengthen this relationship and make it better for our employees and for our organization. And thank you very much.
So with that, it's going to be a tough day. Mayor Benjamin, come on up.
So guys, the moral of the story is we must spend more time feeding our officers, okay? We have to make sure these guys can eat. They work and run so hard, Mr. President. Tom, Scott, thank you so much for your confidence in me when Mayor Nutter and Tom asked me to take on this role. I was honored, of course, to help serve the conference and our cities in any way I possibly could. I know firsthand how valuable these partnerships are to cities. My city, the city of Columbia, South Carolina, works with both Great West and Colonial Life. I also know how important, and I appreciate, Mr. President, you underscoring the fact that these strong business relationships help keep our dues low, so more and more of us can participate. And what I would suggest is a fantastic conference. And how many of you? I mean, I will tell you, this has been an information-packed and useful opportunity. Has this been a great conference, guys? I mean, this has been awesome. It's been awesome. So the effort in keeping our dues low and keeping us all apprised of best practices. We all know that our employees, the men and women who do the real work, the tough work in making our cities run, they're woefully unprepared to achieve retirement security. Statistics show that income replacement will be less than 50% of current income for public employees. Most of the folks we know who work in our organizations, whether it's law enforcement or public works, don't make a lot of money now. Certainly don't earn what they deserve. So income replacement being at 50% is a real challenge. Our U.S. Conference of Mayors program provides a way for employees to save on a tax-deferred basis for successful retirement tomorrow. This costs your city nothing and provides a very much needed benefit. And you think about this, guys, over 30 years ago when mayors approached the Conference of Mayors asking for this type of program to be put together, we've all had many conversations in these rooms over the last couple of days discussing the strength of our collective buying power. When we do things together, the message that we can send, and certainly I can think of no more powerful message than to say that we appreciate the men and women who work hard for our cities every single day. This is an opportunity in this age when we're talking about pension reform and going to defined benefits plan, when every day your employers are saying you're taking something from us. This is an opportunity at no cost to us to give something very special to them to help provide some retirement security. This program, this deferred compensation program, is the backbone of what's really grown to be a key niche of the conference's work, and staying on the cutting edge of best practices and programs is why mayors like myself and others up here look to the conference for guidance on so many matters. With that being said, I'm not going to talk long. I'm going to try my best to move this along and let our experts speak, and we're going to give you all a chance to ask some questions as well. You didn't come to hear me speak. Like many of you, I spend a lot of my time in our public schools. I remember going to speak to a fourth grade at Arden Elementary, and they asked the fourth graders to write 4 lines on Julius Caesar. He wrote that Julius Caesar was a general. Julius Caesar lived a long time ago. Julius Caesar gave long speeches. They killed him. So we're going to keep it nice and short, all right? But we're going to make sure that the experts have a chance to speak. We're going to kick off this opportunity by giving each panelist a chance to introduce themselves and share their background. And Brandon, why don't we begin with you, a short introduction on who you are and who Great West is, and some of our mayors may not be familiar.
Thank you, Mayor Benjamin. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for the opportunity to address this distinguished group. This is a very inspiring conference. It's been wonderful to share your company. My name is Brent Neese. As Mayor Benjamin said, I'm responsible for and dedicated to Great West Financial's public business across the United States, specifically focused on helping municipal employees prepare adequately for retirement. I have dedicated my career, nearly the past 20 years, to helping public servants with their financial literacy, with their preparedness for retirement. It is something that is very near to my heart and that we're very focused on. And I'm very proud to work with Great West Financial in that important endeavor. Great West was a pioneer in the deferred compensation arena. We've been operating in this particular space for the last 40 years, focused again on the everyday hero. And we've got a very large group of individuals, a couple hundred people across the country, that only do this in your communities. And I've got a number of those individuals here with me today, and I'd like to recognize them. If I could get the Great West Financial staff to stand up. Today, we've grown to the market leadership position in deferred comp plans, and we've grown because of our very specific processes around retirement readiness and our low-cost structure, which is very, very important. We are the #1 provider to states, #1 provider to large cities. We have a lot of relationships with a lot of the individuals in this room, and we are very, very proud to represent you and to take care of your employees, and thank you for that opportunity. Today, all told, there's 4.5 million participants across the country that we care for. We are committed, we are focused, we are capable, and this new partnership, which we are so very fortunate and proud of, will enable even more improvements to your employees, better administration, better technology, better communication and education, and ultimately financial literacy and preparedness. So I'd like to again thank Mayor Benjamin, Tom Cochran, President Nutter for the opportunity to be here with you today, and we look forward to addressing your questions.
Thank you for that background, Brent. Steve?
Hi, I'm Steve Saxon. I'm chairman of Groom Law Group here in Washington, D.C. Groom Law Group is an employee benefits firm. We're actually the top-rated benefits firm in the United States, meaning I work on a number of issues related to fiduciary responsibility, how you design and operate your plans. As an aside, Mayor Nutter said that I work for the NFL. I actually work for the NFL players, so I was involved in the fight for free agency 20 years ago, and I was also involved last year when the Players Association had their problems with the owners. We're delighted to be here. I think we have a really interesting, I hope we have an interesting conversation with you today, and thank you, Mayor Benjamin, Mayor Smith, and Mayor Nutter for having me here.
Your expertise is going to provide a great framework for our conversations. Niners, Falcons, any insight?
Well, the Redskins are gone, so now we're big fans of RG3 here.
Marilyn.
Hello, I'm Marilyn Collister. I'm Senior Director of Legislative and Regulatory Affairs at Great West. I've had a number of legal positions there. I've been with Great West for 26 years. And I'm also focused on fiduciary responsibility. I've specialized in governmental plans and education. We, Brent and I co-author a Focus on 457, which is periodically sent out to our plan sponsors to tell them what's new, what's pending in front of the legislation or in regulatory agencies. And I'm also a co-author of the 401k Answer Book.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for the introductions. I have a few questions after that. We're going to open up for questions from you mayors in the audience. And I'll start with the probably the most basic question, the one I asked when I was asked to help in this facilitator's role. Why is the Conference of Mayors involved in deferred compensation? Why? And certainly I got some of the history, but Tom, you want to speak to that? Why are we involved? And I can certainly. Okay, you said all right, I'll do it.
About what we're doing now, not what we did a long time ago.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. I'm not sure my life will be complete without taking orders from Tom Cochran. He does a good job, and my wife has told me he does a great job keeping me straight. I know that well over 30 years ago, and the answer to the question is basically that well over 30 years ago, the mayors came to the Conference of Mayors and said that we have opportunities to do some things, but our opportunities are fractured. If we work together to try and bind the collective power, the collective economic power of our individual cities, what can we do here? Now, years later, thousands of employees in a multi-billion-dollar program, the decision has been made for us to move forward with a brand new partner to make sure that we were doing everything we possibly could to maximize the opportunity for our employees to retire with the amount of dignity and security that they deserve. The Conference of Mayors has been a binding force for 35 years in this effort, and we're excited to move forward in this next effort. Question.
Please.
Mayor Benjamin, if I could,
we are interested in the city of Mesa. We've used Great West for quite a while and have been extremely happy. The results have been very, very positive as we find that things like benefits, especially deferred benefits, are that for many of us who don't run our own pension plans but, because they're at a state level or whatever, the benefits become increasingly important in getting the most that we can because it is one area that we do control. I was just wondering from Great West, I know they work with the city of Mesa, what other cities are you currently working with?
So today we have over 25,000 programs that we administer in thousands of cities across the country, and I wanted to thank you, Mayor Smith, for the opportunity to serve your community for so many years. We've also worked with the City of New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Baltimore, Jacksonville, many of the communities, several that were recognized today for their work on financial literacy, and many others, really too many to cover. We also have the privilege of working with 19 of your states to administer your programs. And so this is the main deal at Great West. We are 40% of our plans are specifically public sector, and this specialty allows us to really to tailor our deliveries to your specific and unique needs.
Right, and just getting very basic, because many of us are busy with, as Mayor Nutter says, filling potholes and worrying about law enforcement. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the 457 plan as well, exactly what the plan is? So
if you remember the good old three-legged stool, or what was supposed to be a three-legged stool, the pension was only your defined benefit plan was only supposed to be one of those legs. And unfortunately, over the years, people haven't done an adequate job of those other that other leg. Of course, you got Social Security and then your personal savings. So the deferred compensation program is quite frankly the third leg of the stool. It's the way that your employees can save money without paying taxes, pre-tax, tax-deferred growth on that money, and it is a critical piece. Mayor Benjamin, as you were talking about the introduction, some of the statistics in terms of retirement readiness in the public sector are scary to think about. The replacement ratios that people are walking away from if they don't use that third leg of the stool is frightening. So our goal at Great West is through communication and education, technology, low cost and great investments, is to provide the guidance and the direction and the tools for people to adequately prepare.
Sure. And what's great about it is this is a benefit that you provide your city employees that doesn't cost you any money. So you get credit for providing a benefit. They get to defer their piece of their salary on a tax advantage basis, and it doesn't cost you anything. So that's, in an era where everything else is costing you something, this just is a way under the tax code that employees can save for their retirement on a tax advantage basis. You get the credit for it, and they get the retirement security at the end of the day. And we'll go into some of the real benefits of that in a second.
That's a good point, Steve. Many places will have to hire a consultant to go help them go find the best plans. What do you think of the conference's facilitative role in helping make that happen?
I just think that it is true, and of course, today with all the litigation out there, it's very important that in looking at as a plan sponsor, as a sponsor of this kind of program, you're a fiduciary. And looking at the providers, you have to make a prudent decision. And you go about this either by doing an RFP or competitive bid. But in this case, you asked the conference to do this. The conference did the work. They went out in a prudent way, did the fact-finding. They surveyed the marketplace, which I will tell you from a legal standpoint is basically the same as doing an RFP. They surveyed the marketplace. They went out and got reports from the experts about who is the best provider in terms of cost, in terms of investment performance, in terms of quality of services, and in terms of education. And they did that survey, and the results of the survey showed that Great West was at the top of the list. And then later on we'll talk about some of the other consultants like Dalbar have found that Great West is also at the top of the list. So that means that you don't have to do the work. You don't have to hire a consultant at $40,000 or $50,000 to go do the survey for you. the conference has done that, and you can rely on that in making your decision. The only thing at this point I think that the conference is asking you to do is to give Great West a chance to come in and show you, talk to you about what it's all about. Or not particularly you, but your staff, your HR guys, or your Treasury guys.
And this is a significant shift. We're talking about 30 years of working with Nationwide, but the focus that we want to make sure is of Great West is that Great West has made a commitment to not just working with large and mega cities, but working with mid-sized and small cities all across the country. When we first started having those conversations, how did it go with Great West, Brent?
Well, let me just say how thrilled we are for this partnership and this opportunity to address. As I said, we've been committed to deferred compensation for 40 years, but we have largely focused on the larger plans, and we've wanted to take our best-in-class package of technology and pricing and investments and get it to the average American city. And this partnership is really giving us the opportunity to do that. And we are committed to it and focused and very, very thankful for the opportunity.
And let me just give you one example of what happened in the negotiations with Great West. The conference was able to negotiate because of the things that Mayor Benjamin was talking about in terms of buying power and economies of scale, that for cities with assets greater than $500,000, the administrative fee of 65 to 75 basis point those fees go away. And what does that mean? That means for an average employee let's say an employee works for 30 years, an average employee who doesn't have to pay that administrative fee, at the end of 30 years, they have $50,000 to $70,000 more in their pocket. $50,000 to $70,000 that they can spend over their retirement. You know, divide it up any way you want. It's a couple $1,000s more per year, several $100s more per month, because this is a less expensive program, and that's what happened in these negotiations.
$50,000 to $70,000. How many covered employees now? We're talking about a few 100,000.
There's about 300,000 in the program currently.
Okay, I count with that. I'm not sure I can count that up just yet. Marilyn, what are your thoughts on the new relationship?
Yeah, thank you. In addition to what's been said, we also want you to know that the conference and Great West is very dedicated to keeping you apprised of what's going on with regard to your plans, making sure that you know when your plans need to be updated, what new features you can add. There's a new in-plan Roth conversion feature now that will be available once the systems and the IRS provide additional guidance. And we also provide fiduciary training for you and your staffs. We do that through seminars and webinars, conference calls, and educational material. So we think that will be a benefit to both our plan sponsors and to your participants.
Marilyn, talk a little bit more about our role as a fiduciary and exactly what that means. Oftentimes, as mayors, we're talking to our employees and to the kids that we speak to in our communities about doing the right thing. What exactly does doing the right thing mean?
Yeah, doing the right thing really means understanding that you have a fiduciary responsibility and then taking those responsibilities seriously. I think one of the major misconceptions that I find with some employers is that they think since they selected a trustee or a plan record keeper, that eliminated the city's fiduciary responsibility. And they don't understand that just the act of selecting those people was a fiduciary act. So it's important to realize that since you're making decisions on behalf of the plan, you're administrating the plan, you're selecting the investment providers and the service providers, that's a fiduciary function. But once you know your basic responsibilities, which is acting solely on behalf of your plan participants and doing it in a prudent manner, it's really common sense to comply once you know what the rules are. In other settings, I've asked for a show of hands. Who decided to go out and breach your fiduciary responsibility today? No hands, right? That's a good thing. But then you say, well, can you name your fiduciary responsibilities? And there's typically no hands then either. So it's just knowing that you have a responsibility, knowing the 3 basic things that you need to do, and then compliance is pretty much common sense.
And I just add to that, Marilyn was saying, this selection of a provider is a fiduciary responsibility. So the selection of Nationwide, the selection of Great West is a fiduciary responsibility. Nationwide was selected 30 years ago. You can't make a fiduciary decision 30 years ago and sit in your hands for the next 30 years and think that everything's going to be okay. You have to evaluate the investment performance of the funds under the program. Most people do it quarterly. At least, you need to do it at least a couple times a year. One of the good things is that, the conference is here to help you do that. But over time, if you look at the investment performance and the funds are 4th quartile, poorly performing funds, if you don't make a switch, then that is a reason why participants would bring a lawsuit and saying, look, I could have earned 5, 6, 7% instead of losing 5, 6, 7%. Somebody in your office needs to sit down periodically and evaluate investment performance, evaluate cost, and evaluate quality of services. Do we have a lot of problems with our employees being able to make transfers? Do we have problems with respect to getting their money out of the plan? If you have those kinds of problems, you ought to switch to another provider. That's what the fiduciary rules are telling you to do. And the good thing, like I said before, is that the conference is doing a lot of that work for you. And if they're doing the work for you and you've signed a city agreement with the conference, then you can rely on what they've done in proving out your procedural prudence.
I'll add one other thing about misperceptions. I think some employers think if they have multiple providers, that they have multiple plans, that it's a Great West plan or a Nationwide plan or a Provider X plan. And you only have, and they just let their employees decide where to put their money. But you only have one plan. It's the city's plan. What you're doing with that one plan is offering multiple providers. And with this responsibility to monitor providers, that's, doubling or tripling the amount of fiduciary work you should be doing. And it's also problematic if they offer the same funds and the fees are different. Wide is one, Fund A, the fees are different with the different providers. So you have to remember that you just have one plan. You need to operate it in the most efficient fashion and not just, it's a fiduciary decision. It's not an employee decision.
And Marilyn, although we're not taking question and answer yet, the great mayor of Akron has a question, and I feel compelled to ask it, okay? So how do mayors get engaged in helping employees switch their plans over? I mean, helping the city switch its plan over. How does that process start? And that may be for you. Right?
Probably for Brent.
So as I mentioned, or as I recognize a number of the individuals that are here in the room, we have a couple hundred counselors, retirement plan specialists that are in your communities, in your states, that are prepared to help you. And I know that you guys had a lot of stuff on your chair when you came in to lunch today, but on the tables there's a white and red card and a red pen. If you'd like us to have one of the counselors come out and meet with you or your staff, we'd appreciate that opportunity. You can just let us know who to contact and leave this card on the table, and or you can turn it into one of the USCM staff or myself. But we'd love the opportunity to talk to you about the program, show you the significant cost savings, show you the improvements in the investment, the administration, and the education capabilities, and hopefully get out there and help your employees become retirement ready.
Understanding the fiduciary responsibilities that we have to make sure that we pick the best plan, and just doing the math, Steve, 50 to 70,000 per employee. I did it quickly from our employees. We have 2,100 employees. You're talking about, at the end of a career, $105 million in my city alone, staying in our city. How do we get more of our employees to take advantage of a 457?
Well, there's a concept under the law now. It's called auto-enrollment, and it's been accepted under the ERISA laws, and it's now widely used. And what it is, it used to be that when you hired a new employee, you offered them the opportunity to participate in the program, but they had to affirmatively go out and elect to participate, meaning that they would elect to defer a little bit of their salary each week or every 2 weeks and put it into their retirement. And you're talking about a 25-year-old, they're just not going to do that. They don't understand what the importance is of what Mayor Benjamin was talking about. That amount of money for the 200 employees grows to $105 million because it grows because of the compounding interest over the 30 years of their employment. So if you auto-enroll your employees by saying, look, listen, 25-year-old, when you sign up, when you're employed by us, you will automatically go into this deferred compensation program. And if you don't want to be in it, that's okay. You can sign a piece of paper saying that you don't want to defer any money. But because of human nature, employees are much less likely to go and get the money out when they realize in their heart of hearts that this is something they ought to be doing, and you've done it for them. So what we would suggest is this concept, just the 2 words, auto-enrollment.
Okay. Fantastic. Using the conference program as a benchmark, and that's what we want people to do as they go through their role as a fiduciary. Steve, could you talk a little bit quickly about some of the dirty tricks you might find out there in the marketplace from competitors?
Yeah, I've been involved in this negotiation. It was a tough negotiation where, after 30 years, looking at the facts, the conference decided that the relationship, it ultimately Nationwide terminated the conference, but the conference wanted changes. They needed changes in the investment lineup. They needed lower costs being passed on to you, and they weren't getting those changes. So there was a difference of opinion, and that led to basically a settlement negotiation that occurred over many, many months. At the same time, the conference was negotiating bringing Great West in. And like anything, there's an old adage, anything's fair in love and war, and there was a lot of misinformation passed around about what the conference was up to. Look, if you ask anybody from the conference is making a lot less money with Great West now than they did with Nationwide. So the obvious reason why the conference switched to Great West was because it's better for you in terms of investments, in terms of quality services, and in terms of cost. They made that decision. Ultimately, we think it's the best decision for you, and that's why we're going to stick with it.
I know we're going to have some questions for our audience. Frank Ortis? So it's on its way. You don't need a mic, Frankie.
Thank you, Mayor. Frank Ortis, Mayor of the great city of Pembroke Pines, Florida, next door to the recurring NBA champions Miami Heat. The only ones I can boast about, that's it, in our state. Okay. My city is 54 years old, as old as the mayor. Thank you very much for that. But because of that, the preponderance of our employees now are in the retiree group. So what do we do to engage that block of employees, the retiree group? Thank you very much.
It's an excellent question with the baby boomers retiring at breakneck speed every day. Obviously, the need for better investments, better advice, better education around how to get not just to retirement, but through retirement is more needed and necessary than ever. I could spend a lot of time talking to you about the investments that we've made in that regards, but I'll just briefly say that we have a couple of unique processes. One, we have retiree advocates that will come to your city and community and specifically focus and talk to people that are either in transition to retirement or already in retirement. The conference, in their wisdom, asked us to put in a guaranteed minimum withdrawal benefit into the program, a service called Secure Foundation, which will provide people guaranteed income for life, as well as the opportunity to avoid market downturns. So it's a very interesting, revolutionary solution for people that want, of course, guaranteed income for life. And we spend a lot of time on lifestyle transition as well as financial literacy, because it is a big change those first couple of days when you go into retirement. So again, it's a comprehensive approach specifically geared to retirees. Thank you for your thoughtful question.
Another question from the audience? Mayor?
Great Western, I did have your staff in and did a presentation for us, so we're exploring it. But I wanted to ask you, your website says that you invest or administer $172 billion of a portfolio. Is that correct? That's what it says on the website.
Okay, I'm sure it's correct then.
My question is, when you do enter into arrangements with mayors in their cities, how do you carefully invest that money and to ensure that the investment is sure and stable? I mean, I know the investments are volatile at times, but to guarantee that you're not going to be losing people's pensions, what measuring tool do you use, and what is your performance rate on that? And also, we had discussions around companies that are investing in manufacturing those who invest in manufacturing gun manufacturers, and we're looking to divest in those. How would you handle that conflict of interest if you're investing in some of those manufacturers that we're actually looking to divest our business in?
So there's a number of different questions there. I'll do my best to answer a few of them. First and foremost, the asset allocation of your participants, the combination of investments that they choose is going to dictate most of their personal return. There's an old study that shows that I think something like 90% of return is based on the combination of investments, not the specific investment you pick. So the right education programs and advice programs around helping your employees who have day jobs, and that are not necessarily that investments are not their forte, being able to provide the right guidance tools, communication education so that they can get into the right combination of investments, I think is the most important answer to your question. And that's something that we spend a lot of time and focus on. As far as the specific investments, we will work with you. We've worked with the conference to put together a fantastic lineup that includes age-appropriate target date funds that are tailored to public sector employees, because the public sector is different than the private sector in terms of the length of employment and a lot of other characteristics. And so I think it's tailoring your investments around your specific needs. And the core lineup that we've put together with the conference does a lot of that, but we will actually work with you to tailor it even further. So if you have those issues and you want to get I would call them socially irresponsible companies out of your portfolio, we can help you with that.